it's Debra D here. Welcome to my house and my podcast, my Rebel podcast, where we talk about how you can empower yourself, make your life better, and be authentically who you are. So today, a couple of my friends are joining me. We're going to hang out here at my house, and we're going to talk about being yourself, knowing who you are. And why is that important? It's so important that I hope that my new song, In Love With Me, will be your anthem, your song, to where you can stand up and say, I am in love with me, I do love myself, and this is who I am, take it or leave it. So I want you to enjoy this podcast. I'm going to play a little bit of my song. This is just an excerpt, and I want you to listen to these words. It's so cool. So now, without further ado, I am going to introduce my two friends, and hopefully this will adjust here so you can see them. So over here is Waylon.
We have to dip down.
And over here is Travis. And I don't know why. Look at this screen. How do I make this bigger? I don't know. Overcoming adversity. I think we all face adversity in our life. And the thing about the song In Love With Me that I think is super important is that a lot of times we feel very suffocated and we feel like we can't breathe. It feels like somebody in our life is trying to take our very essence sometimes and not let us be who we want to be. So we go to bed, we're all uptight, we don't know what's going wrong. You're afraid to say things, so you just don't. And pretty soon, 20 years of your life has gone by and you're like, why am I so miserable?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So these are my friends. This is Travis. This is Waylon.
Hi.
And I have known these guys for a while now, and I'm going to just kind of share with you. We're at our house, we're hanging out, we're having some snacks and some refreshments, and we're just going to talk about what empowers them to be authentically who you are, to be a couple, to go forth in life, and to face adversity. And how did you overcome adversity, right? So that you could be a couple and that you could be yourself and you could be happy.
And we could be our true selves.
Exactly.
With each other and project that into the world. Yeah.
So why don't we start, because I met you first.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we start with when we first met?
I remember it vividly.
Because you were traumatized.
No, because my bus always went by this house because I was a bloomer bear. And I rode my bike down.
And
So
how old were you? Just so
I would
everybody
have
knows.
been 9 or 10. maybe.
Okay.
And
So it's been a minute.
it was a while.
Only like 10 years.
And
right?
I came to visit my friend that was your neighbor across the street. And we were hanging out, and I put my bike down, and it was not supposed to be there.
Oh, jeez.
It did not belong there. And then it would have been a week after that. I met you again when there was a lemonade stand
Oh, yeah.
up here with Smucker's Lemonade. And the
Yeah.
newspaper came and covered it, and
We went national that day.
you did. You really did.
My daughters, Farron, Ashley,
Mhm.
and then our next door neighbor at that time set up a lemonade stand while they were painting the house here. It hadn't been painted in like 50 years, so it was all peely and gross looking.
It was all white and like very French country.
Yeah,
looking.
very, very. Not on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the general theme of it. Yeah. And then I got to meet Wayland not that long ago.
We met. So,
What was that, 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
Probably 4 years ago, we met. We were both in the design section of a local furniture store.
My favorite furniture store, Nebraska Furniture Mart, in case
Yes.
anybody wants to buy anything from them. Yeah.
Ours also. So
Yeah.
we were in there just looking as were you. So I got.
And
to
we
meet
saw
you.
your coat.
Yeah.
You were like your leopard coat.
Yeah.
We were obsessed.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Then you're like,
that's
I know her.
Debra. I know her.
And I remember that, and I was obsessing over a bedroom set.
It was
Yeah.
that from the Ellen DeGeneres collection. I
Oh
remember
yeah,
that.
Ellen DeGeneres. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I got the whole bedroom set. I love
Oh.
it.
You
Oh,
did.
wow.
I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, you loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, I wasn't gonna leave the store without it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, tell me how you guys met and what is your story?
I was on a date with his friend, and it did not go very well.
Oh,
So I'm very traditional. If someone asks you on a date,
yeah.
you know, they come and pick you up, they buy your dinner, they treat you with respect.
Right.
And he did pick me up, but he didn't buy my dinner, and he wasn't very.
Did he want you to pay for dinner or just pay for your own?
Pay for my own. He probably would have let me pay for his dinner as well.
I'm sure.
And I just was not having that. I was not gonna have it. I'm like, you're not for me.
Yeah.
And I went all out. I got a spray tan. I got my hair done. I got, I was like, I'm ready for this
And
date.
he was not appreciative.
At all.
There you go.
So that's a hard no for me.
Warning sign number
Exactly.
one.
Red flag. Red flag right
Yeah.
there. And so he was like, do you want me to take you home, or do you want to go to my friend's house? He's having a party. And I was like, well, duh, I want to go to your friend's house. Like, I'm already all
Yeah.
cued up, like, we're going. And so it was Waylon's house that we went to, his apartment. And he had just gotten all new white furniture.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love it.
And I loved it. And
love
I
that.
had just gotten the deepest, darkest spray tan imaginable. And so,
Never the two shall meet.
no,
He was sitting on the edge
on the edge.
like this because he was like, and I was like,
I had
"That's the
shorts
best
on.
posture. I can't believe that."
I had shorts on. And I was like, I am going to ruin your new furniture if I sit back, you know? And he was kind of mean to me at first. He just kind of walked by and didn't even acknowledge me or anything like that. But then I later found out he was obsessed with me.
That's not. Well, okay, that is true.
Were you playing hard to get?
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little
that
bit.
worked.
Well, I think I was kind of upset because I was like, "You're on a date with my friend. Like, I can't
Talk to you.
Well,
Yeah.
that is a little sketchy.
Yeah.
So you might have been feeling, well, like if I do anything here. How could I trust him?
Right, and also like I didn't want to like hurt my friend's feelings
Right.
or
Yeah.
something. So
I can see that.
But that made me respect him so much that he, is a good enough person to not, steal a date from a friend that he cares about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it made me even like him even more. So I'm
That's
like, oh, he's a
very-
good person.
Yeah.
And he's hot,
Oh, we had so much fun that night.
Two great qualities.
We did.
Yeah.
So then we went down to the bar. They'd torn it down, but it was called the 49er.
Mm.
And Waylon was like, I put money in, play whatever you want. And I started playing 90s pop dance music, which I love. And I played Madonna, and he's like Madonna's biggest fan.
Yeah.
And we just danced, and we had the best time.
Billy Idol.
Billy
How
Idol.
fun! How fun!
Yeah.
Music really makes great memories too for anything. I mean, because you can hear that song, and then 20 years later, you're like, oh, I remember what we were doing then.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
cool. So, like, do you have a song?
Glenn Miller, Moonlight Serenade is our song.
Yeah, that was our
We
wedding song.
love Glenn Miller.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very
Mhm.
nice.
And anything Prince, we love Prince.
Yeah.
And George Michael's.
I love George Michael's too.
Yeah.
Oh my
He's-
God.
That was like when we first got together, that was like the music. Because we have
Yeah.
like Sonos in our house, so we're
Mhm.
always playing music. He's always playing music. And that's,
Great. I mean, I love music. I know my neighbors have said to me, well, Debra, I can hear your music over here.
turn it
I was
down.
like, you're welcome.
I go, well, you can listen to it or you can just like ignore it. Just
Yeah.
turn yours up.
And it's obviously good music, so.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
What else would we have?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So tell me about when you got married. What did that look like?
Well, we got engaged. I proposed at our Christmas party in front of
Oh,
my
that's
parents, his
romantic.
parents, all of our friends.
My gay dads and all of our friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so.
Your gay dads are stunning.
They are.
Yeah.
And they are dear
I love
friends.
them.
And I tell you, they're some of the finest people I've ever met.
They're
They
great
really
people.
are. I met Richard when he was doing your landscaping when I was like 11.
Did you really?
Yes, he had a white BMW. Like,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He got in a
coupe.
horrible car
Yeah, he
accident.
did.
Yeah.
And I thought he was the most impeccable person I had ever met
Isn't
in my
he
life.
something? I loved his glasses.
Oh, his whole. He
he
gave
had
me these pants.
style.
Oh, yeah.
Style, man.
Oh, for days, weeks, months, years. Like,
Yeah.
fabulous. So fabulous. So then when I met him again, 20 years later, I was like, I cannot believe that we're connecting again like this. This is the most
And
beautiful
you met him
sign.
here?
I met him here originally, and then I met him
That is insane.
at the
crazy?
Max,
Yeah.
and then he hired me, and then I worked for him and Bruce, his partner,
Right.
and now we are like a family forever.
And Bruce is so talented.
Mm.
And they
He's
are
the
just intelligent, warm, accepting. But I think there's so much I've learned from both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
You spend any time with them, you'll learn like 10
Everything.
things. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Mhm.
I mean, and I just feel like everybody needs people like that in their life.
Mhm.
First of all, style, class, and
They're exquisite.
they can
human
talk
beings.
about anything. I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can talk to anyone. They're humble as well.
Very humble.
And they are, Bruce always said he is the most fabulous architect in the entire Midwest.
I
But
agree.
he always says, I tell my people that work for me, we are no better than shoe salesmen. And you need to treat people with love and
Right.
respect.
Right.
And, we are working for them.
Right.
You are no better than anyone else.
Correct.
And that's fabulous.
It is fabulous because you know what? You like to work with your friends.
Exactly.
And your clients should be your friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Anyways.
But I think I brought him up because we were visiting them in Palm Springs, and we were at the Purple Room where Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball used to perform,
Oh,
and we couldn't hear anything.
Frank
All we
Sinatra,
could, Frank
yeah.
Sinatra, all we could hear was them
Oh, cool.
screaming, "You should get married tomorrow."
Yeah.
In the purple room.
In the purple room. And so it turns out we couldn't get married tomorrow because of all the contracts and the legality
and you had
and
to
all
like
that.
schedule a time and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so, we ended up getting married on 2 days after Valentine's Day.
Aw, how cute.
Yeah. And my parents were able to be there.
Nice.
We had breakfast at the Ritz-Carlton, I think, afterwards.
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite places to have breakfast.
It was
And
or
so
anything.
Beautiful thing
What
was
is that saying over there?
Final repetition.
We were talking about how you met and how you proposed, and now we're to the wedding part.
So we went on vacation to visit my gay dads. They have a house in Palm Springs, like right down the street from Elvis.
Oh my.
And we were having the best time.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to dinner that night at the Purple Room. And it's where Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball and all these like super famous people have
I
performed.
think the Rat Pack used to play there.
The Rat
all the time.
Pack.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
That's very
And
cool.
everything was plum, which is a jewel tone plum, which is like one of my favorite colors.
Rich.
It's so rich and gorgeous. And the music is so loud we can't hear anything that we're saying. And all of a sudden the music stops and Bruce screams, "You should get married tomorrow!" And we're like, and so people are like clapping. We're like, okay, why not?
Yeah.
And we didn't have to do a thing. They figured everything out, got all the documents, got everything that we needed, set up the time, the location, everything.
Wow.
And it was really special because I was at their wedding in Montecito, and they got married at the courthouse there. And then we had lunch at the
Ritz-Carlton.
At the Ritz-Carlton. No, with Bruce and Richard, but we got married at the courthouse.
Oh,
and of course, in Bruce and Richard fashion, they rearranged the entire room
That was the best part.
to make it better.
At the
Yeah.
courthouse?
At the
Yeah.
courthouse.
How do you do that?
They did it.
All the chairs, they repositioned everything.
The
floral arrangement.
literally everything.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
did.
They're like, this,
my
this will
God.
not
Oh
do.
no, this will not do.
I love it.
the,
I love
the
that.
judge walks in and she's like, "Oh," she's like, "This looks a lot better."
This looks so much better.
Well, what do you expect?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we got married, and then we had lunch at the Ritz-Carlton. But the really special thing is Richard designed the fountain
Ooh.
and the gardens
The
as you're
landscaping,
pulling into the Ritz-Carlton in like the early 80s. That was like one of his first projects that he did.
Wow.
So our wedding photo is in front of the fountain that Richard designed.
Oh, how
Yeah.
special.
It was so special.
Richard has an amazing talent for
Really?
landscape architecture and hardscaping and plant placement.
Mm-hmm.
That is epic.
Because he did your landscaping.
He did my landscaping, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, everybody over at the nursery is like, "Oh, well, you had Richard, didn't you?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah, the best.
Yes.
So you got married. You had a fabulous time, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go on a honeymoon?
We have not been on a honeymoon
No.
because we are so focused on work and our career and our house and
And your house is gorgeous.
Thank you.
And anybody who hasn't seen their house, you can go onto my YouTube channel and you can see it's a mid-century modern. So you can tour the mid-century modern and see how cool it is, outfitted from all of these
Time
crazy,
capsule.
I know.
Mhm.
It looks like I walked back into the 60s and I could walk over, turn on the old TV
Mhm.
and watch the Jetsons. I mean,
And you could too.
yeah.
And you could.
It is just awesome. So, one of the things that I would love for you to share, because, you know, it's just been recently where we've had gay pride, and we've had the ability to celebrate the differences of people and the culture and bringing people together. And I think we're so much richer and better for it.
Absolutely.
And just, you know, I just would like you to share how you have been empowered, how maybe your relationship and your marriage have empowered you to have focus and determination to be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all get hate. Everybody listening, watching.
Love that.
We all get hate, right?
Yeah.
I guess if you don't get hate, then that means nobody really cares. So,
Absolutely.
to a certain amount, you do want a little bit. But, you know, you have to believe in yourself, and you can't feel like you're suffocating.
Exactly.
Because if you feel like you're suffocating, you're obviously in the wrong place, doing the wrong thing, and not being who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me about a time that you faced adversity, either together or separately. And why was that a turning point in your life? What did that do for you that made you say, I'm not gonna, well, what is that old song? By God, I'm not gonna take it anymore.
Anymore. No
I think
more.
that's a
No
country
longer.
western
It is.
song. So what is it? When was your turning point, I guess, in your life?
I think probably after we got together. Because when you have someone who believes in you and is behind you and loves you, no matter what you do, or just, you know, you have that, you know that if something goes wrong, or if someone is evil and mean to you, we just kind of laugh about it because we're like, we're so happy, and I'm sorry that you're not.
Yeah,
Right.
same team, right?
Yeah, we're on the same team.
Right.
And if we're fun, we're cool, we have the best time. We know a lot of people. And honestly, honey, if you don't like us, it's on you.
There you go.
So
Yeah, and we're always
It's
kind to people.
we're
like,
always
not,
so kind.
I don't know, like people, and we have a good perspective about each other where we can kind of see, like, you know what, you didn't deserve that. I'm not gonna tell him that, you know, somebody else's negative opinion about him is right, or that, you know, what did you do to deserve that, or something like that. It's on that other person. And
Right.
Yeah.
And that's really cool because I remember in a previous marriage I had, who's unnamed at this moment,
we know.
every time something bad happened to me, he would always say, I told you so. You shouldn't be doing that. You should keep your mouth shut, or something, you know.
No.
So I always felt alone.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you have been a support system for each other.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's true love, when people see you for who you are and not judging you, but understanding on the inside, how did that make you feel?
Absolutely.
Right?
And not, you know, what did you do, or, you know, never like puts the blame on you, but is like, are you okay?
Right.
I know that must have really hurt you. And
Empathy.
empathy is a big thing in relationships, and if you have that, you know, it's, you know, we always know that we have each other, and we are
Each
on
other's
the
best
same,
friends,
we're each other's
you know?
best friends, we're on
That's
the same
huge.
page,
Huge.
we're the best teammates ever, we work so well together, and
Most of the time.
well, everyone has
Yeah.
hiccups.
Yeah.
Well, everybody. I mean, you can't be clones, because if you are, that would be boring.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to have a little spice in there.
A little
right?
bit.
Yeah.
I threw some spice in the other day.
You always do.
So, tell me about a time in your life where you had a turning point and you really had to just kind of say, this is who I am and this is the way I'm going to be.
I would have to say the same thing. When we got together, I don't know if I just wasn't, like, courageous enough to, like, I was out. I'd been out since I was 16. I came out with Ellen. And my mom.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah, my mom, we watched the show, and she at the end of it, I just was really quiet and just kind of like, this is uncomfortable, you know? And then she finally came up to my room and she's like, do you have something you want to tell me? And I just cried.
Because your mom's the best.
She
and
is.
She knows you.
That's the great thing is I have had, you know, really great parents that have been
You have
supportive.
very great parents.
You met my parents.
Yeah.
I was, first of all, I've only met them once, but they are so proud of you.
Oh,
And it just was like coming out of every pore on them, you know, and I found them extremely easy to talk to and extremely down to earth and logical.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah,
much.
for sure.
And for your mother to be so sensitive and have the empathy to come up to your room
Yeah.
and ask you if there was something. I mean, that is such a beautiful way
Yeah, and she
to
wasn't
communicate.
she wasn't afraid to ask me
Absolutely.
that. She wasn't, you know, or she might have been, but she knew like it would be the best thing for me. 'Cause she could see that I was like struggling, you know, and was unhappy. So yeah, I mean, it was probably because it probably would have taken forever for me to actually say. So,
Or you might have never said it, because a lot
Yeah.
of people don't. There's a lot
Right.
of,
Yeah.
Right.
they just expect their parents and their loved ones to know.
Right.
Well, and I
Which
think
isn't their...
I think a lot of people are afraid because they feel like they're going to disappoint their parents, right?
That was my biggest thing. Was that I was just afraid because my parents were both. They came from, you know, pretty conservative families for the most part, especially my mom's family. And you know, I just didn't know. I knew how my relationship with them was, but I was like, they're going to be so worried about like what their families will
Right.
think and stuff
Right.
like that. And I never was that like worried about them having a negative reaction. It was just kind of like, well, then what do we do after that, you know?
Right.
So
But your relationship, I feel, is exceedingly super strong with them.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it is.
Yeah, that's the whole thing I got the other night. And when you got up to speak, they were all about it.
All about
Yeah.
it.
All about that.
They love their Waylon.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm
And-
the baby.
Well,
And he's the baby.
you're the
Yeah.
gift,
Oh.
right? You're
But he's
there.
also the tallest person in the family. So
Well,
that's
there you
kinda
go.
funny.
But that's a gift in itself. I can reach for tall places. You know?
So, I know your experience here in Council Bluffs is probably much different.
Yes.
And knowing the school you went to, because I went to the same school, and knowing how people are in Council Bluffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how your experience was here.
Well, if the people who are watching this were the people who tormented me, middle finger to you. I came out the beginning of my senior year, and I went back to school, and that was the summer that I came out, and I made all these friends, and I was hanging out in West Omaha, and I was going to raves, and I, you know, had my first boyfriend, my first 3 boyfriends, and I had the best summer. I was 17. And I went back to school, and these boys had tried to trick me into, you know, they were like, you know, obviously I was tormented for being gay. One of them tried to say that they were gay and they wanted me to invite them out. Well, then they were going to use those text messages to out me at school.
Oh, gosh.
And I was already out.
Yeah.
So when they tried to do that, it backfired in their face, and good for them.
Yeah.
So I came out to my family, and they could care less. They obviously knew I was gay, and I had a gay uncle. But the killer was a couple of weeks after I came out, my dad had a massive stroke.
Oh, that's too
And
bad. I didn't know that.
It was horrible. He's had 3 altogether.
Wow.
And so dealing with that, because my dad was my best friend. Sorry, Mom. And I mean, we were like peanut butter and jelly. And we still are. He, you know, is not doing very well to this day, but we still can look at each other and I know what he's thinking, what he's saying. And so after that happened, I received a couple of death threats.
Oh, good
At
grief.
school from these really ugly guys, which I could care less about anyway. But it ended up working in my favor because I got to park next to the principal, so I got better parking.
And in high school, that's a big deal.
It's a big thing, and it was covered too, so I didn't
You were
have to
like
worry
on
about
staff.
my car. I should have got a check.
Yeah, that should be in a movie, actually. That would be great.
Yeah. And what's really funny is I had a nicer car than my principal did.
Oh, my word. I love it.
But I worked hard for that car.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it was just not the best in Council Bluffs.
Yeah.
It's hard in a small town. I feel like
It
it's
is.
different these days, but in the time that I grew up, light years ago, it just, people were not understanding, and it was so different, and it wasn't on TV, and it wasn't talked about, and it wasn't this or that, but
Don't you feel like everybody here was very narrow-minded and
hateful.
very judgmental?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you weren't, I played all sports. I was a wrestler, I played baseball, I played soccer, I played everything. And the thing that benefited me is I'm super athletic. So I would make a win for the team, so then I would be more accepted, but then that would last about 2 weeks, and then it would be back to, oh, you're gay, you're this, you're that,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay. And what's really sad is I could have done so much better in school if I wasn't tormented by these people, but I dumbed myself down so I didn't have to be in the same classes as these people because they were so horrific.
Yeah. Plus, it takes up so much time just like being worried about
Well, when you go home at night and you do your homework and
It's on your mind. How can you
always
get rid of it?
you can't.
It's terror. I mean,
It is terror.
when somebody, because like there were times when I was in school, because I grew up in a small town too, and this was, I'm 10 years older than Travis, so it was, a different time even then, so, people would tell me they were gonna like take me to, I'd be waiting for the bus, and I'd have somebody, like, some kid tell me he was gonna, like, take me to the park, like, across the street and kill me, or...
Oh, Lord.
But when
That's what you need to hear when you're going to school, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
When you're a kid, you're like, as an adult, I'm like, I know that probably...
Would have never happened.
Right.
But I would be so scared about going to school the next day that I would, like, fake being sick.
Did you ever tell your parents?
No, because...
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell your family.
And this was before I was even... you're not always like...
So you're feeling isolated now.
Absolutely.
Right. When it's also, like, the bullies always know that you're gay before you do, They will always, like, find a gay kid, like...
People say that,
I've
and
never
I'm like...
thought of that, but it's
Wait,
the truth.
here's the thing, though. I am totally blind to any of that. Why? And my husband will say, well, Debra, that person's gay. And I'm like, well, how did you know that? I don't see these things. Why? Because I'm not busy looking at that. I'm busy looking at what is that person on the inside.
Right, yeah. Well, you're not, like, a judgy, like, person that way
not at all.
You're
No.
very open. I mean,
Yeah. And I'm always looking at people for, like, their talent, their skill.
Right.
And I love people that are alive, that are on fire with happiness and doing things,
Passion
right?
Passion and thriving
And so to have someone come up to you, knowing how passionate you are about things and how, you care, you deeply care about people, and so you head up organizations and you do things to help other people. So to feel isolated and picked on and hated, my God, what did that do to you?
Well, it was horrible. I mean, I didn't want to go to school at all because I was just so afraid,
Junior high is the worst.
Yeah.
Is the worst years. I think not only for gay people, but for a
For
lot
most
of kids
people,
in general.
I felt super ugly because the boys were making fun of me.
How?
Well, I walked into the classroom one day and I was in honors class, right? And Jack was sitting over there. Jack, we'll just keep it at Jack. And Jack looks at me and goes, Debra, you'd be great if you weren't so flat-chested.
Oh, boys
and I'm
are
like,
so...
what? And then, of course, I felt like I was a malfunction, right? And so, I mean, to this day, I remember it. And then I've only been to a couple high school reunions. Oh God, those are bad.
I've never gone.
They're horrible.
I won't go.
And so all people want to do is brag about how many kids they've had, how many divorces they've had.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not an achievement in my life, okay?
No.
Okay. It's how did you make the world a better place, right? So anyway, I go and there's Jack. And Jack went to school, became a veterinarian, but was a raving alcoholic. So he wasn't a veterinarian anymore because he couldn't take the pressure. And he hated his job and he hated his life. And I'm like, wow. Maybe you're not thinking about chess anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's got other things on his mind.
Yeah. So what did you do? How did you overcome this?
So when I was 16, I started doing theater, like community theater, and I met people that were into, expressing themselves artistically, and it really makes a difference when you're around people that are, somewhat like yourself or share interests, and that's hard to find sometimes, especially if you're, a kid who's interested in the arts, who's gay, who's in a small town in the middle of Nebraska.
Or let's just face it, in a farming community.
Yeah.
With corn and cattle and all of these things, right?
Right.
They're really not thinking about New York or LA and being on Broadway.
Yeah. Well, and in
Right?
my community, it was very, and not that there's anything wrong with being religious or going to church or anything, but there was a few, like 2 or 3 really large mega churches in that town that just kind of dictate that, being gay is wrong and you must confront that as, if you know a gay person.
And you need to change
Squash it.
yourself.
Yeah.
Squash
And
that.
so that was pretty hard to deal with, especially from family.
But you know what's interesting about that? And it always makes me go back to this story where Jesus was bent down and he was writing in the sand. Well, this poor woman was standing there who was caught in the act of adultery, right? They wanted to stone and kill her, but what about the guy?
Right.
Yeah.
What about that? So the same ministers or pastors or priests can stand up there and pick out homosexuality, but what about the adulterer, the thief, the killer, right? Why do you fixate on one sin?
I don't know.
I mean, what is it?
That hurts
And they
no
do
one.
that. And the really sad thing is we are both religious. We have,
Right.
Well,
God
we're
in our
spiritual,
hearts.
but,
And it just is so difficult to be like, we are on the same page with you. We want to be, but you are taking one tiny little section and stoning us with it.
Yeah.
And
We were both actually kicked out of our
both of our
churches
churches.
as children, or as
for being gay.
young adults,
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's really, I'm sorry. That's really sad.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
turned us away.
Nowhere
from
in the Bible, I believe in God, I believe in the Bible, and I believe that the Word of God is inherently God-breathed, right? Even though a man wrote it down.
Mm-hmm.
But nowhere does God ever say to kick people out of church, right?
For their sins.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you go to church like it's the hospital, right? You go there to get yourself
right. And
right.
Yeah.
And not to be ostracized and, oh, well, that person's got the plague. Just throw them over there.
Yeah, throw them out.
Right.
Yeah.
Throw them in the parking lot.
Wow. I'm really sorry. I mean, that's really horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it both kind of turned us off a little.
Well, and I had friends that got married in that church. I didn't go. My grandmother's funeral was at that church.
Oh, how sad.
And I went, but
Were they staring down your neck?
well,
at ya?
actually, our youth leader, I won't say her name, but she is evil. She was there and remembered me immediately and just was not very nice. And I just could not believe that she couldn't show like empathy or compassion.
Sorry. Yeah.
during a time like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, since your grandmother had just
since
died.
you're so
yeah.
religious and you are so whatever, you know, you obviously are not.
Yeah.
And you have it all wrong and all screwed up. And
Practice what you preach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm speechless over that. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Even to this day, I was headed to. I get hate a lot. I think because of the way I look, and I look gay. I guess for the Midwest. If I were in LA or Italy,
I don't think you look gay.
or New York, I would fit right in because people.
Well, you look European.
Thank you.
That's how you look to me, because I lived and worked over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, you look very European. I love that.
And I love that, and I've heard that multiple times.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
to me, you look French or German, but mainly French.
Oui.
Yes. And let me tell you, that's class and style to me.
Is.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
And I love it.
Plus, you have very good manners.
Thank you.
I mean, so what's wrong with that? And you take a bath. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
2 a day. I know, but we drove separately. I don't remember why, but we were headed to his Father's Day brunch for his dad. Mm-hmm. And I just stopped. I had to get gas at the gas station, and I went in to get a bottle of water and to pay for my gas. And there was this guy there with these 2 little girls in both hands, and they were really, really cute little girls. And I paid for my gas, and I got my bottle of water, and I think I got him one too. And as I walked out, he goes, "Fag."
Oh, that's evil.
Just on a random
So he's
day.
teaching his daughters,
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's really, really evil, because these are very impressionable children.
They were like
and how
4
does he
and
know?
6.
How does he know that his daughters aren't?
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, so
And
what's-
who are you to
Right.
pipe up like that?
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be like if you were like me walking through the grocery store and somebody goes, "Adulterer!" Right? You're like, what?
What? Go away.
What are you
Live your own
going
life.
to scream out? Masturbator!
Yeah.
What? I mean, if everybody acted like that,
I know. Could you
what
imagine?
is to separate us from being an animal?
I know.
The grocery
I mean-
store would be an exciting place.
I would go to that grocery store. People were screaming
called-
obscenities like that.
It's called Walmart.
Yeah, it is. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I know.
I like Walmart. I shop there regularly because there's never a boring moment.
No,
Oh, yeah,
it's
for sure.
people watching.
Yeah.
I love to watch
we
people.
love it.
I eat it up.
Yeah.
So Walmart's the place to be.
Free entertainment.
Free entertainment all day.
Wow. So these are things, you know, and it's so close to home to hear you talk like this and to open and share this, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But to know you guys together and how amazing you are, you know, you make me a happy person every time I'm around you.
Oh.
And I find
Same.
Yeah.
it fascinating to talk and to share ideas and talk about decorating or talk about historic preservation. I mean, we talk about everything.
Everything.
And it's never boring.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to talk about people because we're just too busy living life.
Doing our own fun things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're bold, you've stepped out, you've shown your courage, right? And I just love that. And I just want to thank you for doing that and for sharing your story. And so what's next? What would you like in your marriage as you see yourself going forward together? Do you have any special dreams? Like, do you want to go live on an island? Do you want to move to New York? I mean, what are the kind of things that you have in your dream and aspirational view?
We have talked about moving to Palm Springs because it's so open and friendly, and we can just be ourselves there, and we don't get harassed at gas stations or Walmart or I don't even think they have a Walmart in Palm Springs.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think they do.
But
Are you serious?
Yeah,
They
I'm pretty
don't.
sure
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
It's probably against an ordinance.
It
Yeah.
is. Well, they don't have like fast food there either in Palm
I
Springs.
love Palm Springs.
I love it.
They have like
The
one
minute
Whataburger or
the
something.
minute I first went there, I'm like, yeah, I need to live here.
Yeah,
We-
it's beautiful.
I
The
love it
quality
there.
of life, the
Mhm.
buildings, well, the desert.
The
is
people.
Yeah, the people are so happy out there. It's
Oh,
like,
I know.
Yeah.
They are.
And the roads are smooth.
I know.
Yeah.
And guess what? You can put the top down at night on your convertible and
Yes.
drive through that desert, and it's amazing.
A dream.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mhm.
I love it.
We've talked about that, and we have talked about we really want to buy a gigantic older home
Hmm.
from the 1800s, late 1800s, maybe early 1900s.
We would
and
go all the way to like the 30s, maybe.
to the 30s,
Yeah.
maybe kind of like Art Deco-y
Yeah.
type thing. But
Which would be cool.
we love home restoration, and we love history, and we love decorating anything that involves that.
Can you be my neighbor then?
Yeah, we would love
We
to.
would love to.
We tried.
Yeah, we tried.
That didn't work out so
Yeah.
good, but you
But
never
also-
know.
But
Right.
also that house, it could have been something, but we could do better. So.
Yeah.
I think so.
And we will.
I do.
We will.
Yeah.
God has a plan for us.
I know.
And it wasn't there.
And
Right.
I hope that it's that we're going to be closer together.
We
Yeah,
would
we
love
would love that.
That would be so cool because then
Mhm.
we could have progressive dinners. And we can have
Yes.
cocktails on the porch.
Wine nights on the porch.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
absolutely.
right?
It would be the best.
And we can make some s'mores.
Mm-hmm.
I told David, "Oh my gosh, look! They got the marshmallows out. They got the Hershey bars out.
Some graham
Let-
crackers.
Yeah, let's make some s'mores. I hate those things.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
love
Who doesn't
nobody,
like s'mores?
nobody
Yeah.
can hate that.
Yeah.
So you got to come over so we can do that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I love that.
And then, so I would love to see you be able to reach out to more people and to help them through their journey. And the organization that I went to a skate party the other night, and I took my own skates, believe it or not. I was a little afraid.
Pink
You
suede.
did so good,
They
though.
were so
Yeah.
beautiful.
And Travis held my hand so I could get through it. But it was really good. But I thought that event was so cool.
Oh.
And how many fundraisers do you guys get involved with? And like, what's your passion there?
It's mainly been that one. We do it once a year, so it's a skate party, but it's also a fundraiser for Nebraska AIDS Project. The best part about it, though, is that it allows like people that are under the age of 21 who would normally, not be as connected to the LGBT community. They're able to, be somewhere fun together, make friends. It's not all around like alcohol and
Right.
all that stuff.
Right.
And it's just fun. You're doing something really fun, and
Right.
there's great music, and we even played Deb's OG.
Yeah.
Yes.
So-
So G is the place to be.
Yeah, that's right. So and it was just, I don't know. We do that like once a year, like I said, but it's great. I'd love to do it more.
But we're thinking about doing it more holiday type things.
Yeah, and you had the best
Mhm.
idea of doing like a costume party.
Oh, I
Yes,
would love
we're
that.
doing that. For
I want to
Halloween.
dress up.
Yeah.
I
doing
want to
that.
dress up. I'll come and sing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we would
Yeah.
love that.
And what I was taken with was, it was almost like when I was a little kid, right? People came there to have fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
They came, they were talking, they were actually having fun. And geez, when I look around right now, because of COVID and everybody's so uptight about
Mhm.
everything, it doesn't feel like people are having fun, or they're afraid to laugh, or people are just like squared off. So I really appreciated going to that event. My husband said, "Oh, you're going to break something."
You didn't.
She did.
Well, and the cool thing though too is that you can't be on your phone when you're on roller skates. you know?
Right.
So you communicate.
Yeah.
With people.
And
Mhm.
you can, you may make a fool of yourself, you may fall, you may, anything can happen, but
Yeah.
you're like interacting with people, it's fun.
It was fun. And
Yeah.
I met some really great people.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so lovely. So keep up the good work, keep inspiring, and I hope that someday you are my neighbor.
We would love that.
We are hoping every day.
Cross your fingers.
We'll
We
be like
love
Mr.
this
Rogers. We'll
neighborhood.
have our little trolley.
Yeah.
that can come
Yeah.
and that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming today and for sharing.
Thanks for having us.
Is there any last thing that you'd like to share for encouragement or about knowing who you are as a person?
Don't be afraid to be weird, or don't be afraid to speak your truth, who you are.
Right.
Everyone is so different, and everyone has so many different struggles that they go through, but also everyone has different talents and positive things that are in their life. And the way to be happy is to find those things within yourself and find other people who have the same common interest as you, and your life will flourish.
Yeah,
if you just stay true to who you are.
Well, and also, like, don't surround yourself with people who don't appreciate you. If
Right.
you can help it. You know, find the people that do appreciate you.
Right.
And will appreciate what you're interested in and where your strengths lie, and will not put you down for it. And, I mean, that's really the key to being happy, is to find people that love you and want the best for you.
And hold them close and stay true to them.
Hold them close, because we never know what tomorrow brings, right?
And the people that won't think you're crazy when you want to do something, you know, amazing.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm not a zip liner, so I don't hang out with zip liners, right? And my professor said to me when we were in Costa Rica, we're working on, I was working on my thesis, and she said, Debra, we're going to go to this serpentorium or whatever. And I go, what's that? Well, it's this place where we can zip line down this mountain through the Costa Rican jungle, and there's a serpent museum up on top. I'm like, yeah, I think I can pass on that. You know? And then they're like, well, what do you like to do? Well, I like to hike. Okay, so they take me to a hiking spot in Costa Rica. And so before you walk down this path that goes right into the jungle, it's just like, you know, a movie set, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're walking right into the jungle, and you can just imagine the Tyrannosaurus Rex and these things coming out.
Or the giant birds.
Yeah, so it says, warning, there are panthers, there are leopards. Anyway, after the fourth or fifth animal that they named that was as big as me or bigger that could eat me, I decided I could do without hiking. Yeah. So we went to the spa, the volcanic springs.
Oh, yes.
That was fun. I found a lot of people there to talk to. I had a great time. And my professor even had a great time. So when you are part of a solution, your life gets better.
It does.
Absolutely.
It always will.
Yeah.
It always will.
It always will.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening today, or if you're watching, thanks for watching as well. And Travis and Waylon, thank you for sharing your story and your encouragement. And thank you for being empowered.
Thank you.
Thanks for being our friend.
Yeah.
Aw, that was sweet.